Hi everyone. In this video, I am going to discuss about anorectal malformation. It is otherwise termed as imperforate anus. Anorectal malformation or also known as imperforate anus. This is an umbrella term for a group of birth defects which affect the anorectal area. It includes the anus as well as the rectal area. Anorectal anomalies comprise a wide spectrum of diseases which involve the distal anus and rectum as well as urinary and genital tracts. Definition: anorectal malformation or developmental deformities of the lower end of the alimentary tract, that is, the anorectal canal. It involves an arrest of rectal descent resulting in absence of an anal opening which occurs during the 4th to 16th week of gestation. Incidence: it occurs 1 in 500 living newborns, while major abnormalities occurs in 1 in 5000 living infants, and this may occur in both boys and girls, here commonly affected or boys while comparing to girls. Next is etiology. The exact cause of this malformation is not known. It occurs due to arrest in the embryonic development of the anus, lower rectum and urogenital tract at the 8th week of embryonic life. The membrane that separates the endodermal hindgut from the ectodermal anal dimple perforates and a continuous canal is formed, the outlet of which is the anus. And if the membrane separating the rectum from the anus is not observed and if the union does not take place, here the anorectal anomaly results. Approximately 40% of the neonates with anorectal malformation have associated anomalies like Down syndrome, congenital heart disease, undescended testis, renal abnormalities, esophageal atresia, and neural tube defects. Next, moving on to types. According to the visibility of the anus with a visible abnormal opening of the bowel, first is anal stenosis. You all know that stenosis means narrowing. So, it accounts for 10% of all anorectal malformation. A stricture is at the anus or at levels 1 to 4 cm above the anus or extends the entire length of the anus. In this picture, you can see the anal stenosis. Next is anoperineal fistula. It is common in male. In boys, the perineum is the small area between the scrotum and the anal sphincter. This type of anorectal malformation occurs when a baby does not have a properly formed anus and the rectum ends in the perineum. This picture you can see anoperineal fistula. Next is anovestibular fistula in female. In females, there is a small or between the exterior genitals, that is labia, and the vaginal opening. This is called vestibule. In this type of anorectal malformation, the anus does not form in a normal way and the rectum ends in a small opening in the vestibule. Next is with an invisible but manifested opening of the bowel. First is rectovaginal fistula in female. In this type of anorectal malformation, there is a passageway between the rectum and vagina that is not normal. As a result, gas and feces can leak into the vagina. Next is rectourethral or rectobulbar fistula in male. In this type of anorectal malformation, the rectum connects to the urethra at the level of the lower urethra. Urine and feces mix and empty out of the urethra, that is the opening where urine usually exits the body. This picture you can see rectourethral or rectobulbar fistula. Next is no manifested opening of the bowel. That is first one, persistent anal membrane or imperforate anus. Here there is an imperforate anal membrane that produces obstruction behind which the meconium is seen. Second one is rectal atresia. In this type of anorectal malformation, the rectum ends in a blind pouch. The rectum does not connect to anything. Next is on the basis of levator ani muscle. Supralevator or high anorectal malformation. When rectum terminates above the levator ani muscle, which is found as rectal atresia, rectoprostatic fistula and rectovaginal fistula. Next, second is translevator or low anorectal malformation. When rectum terminates below the levator animuscle, found in anocutaneous fistula and anovestibular fistula. Next one is anal agenesis. There is an imperforate anus possibly seen as a dimple. The rectal pouch ends blindly some distance above the anus or forms a fistula with other organs leading to rectovaginal fistula low or high, rectoperitoneal fistula, rectovesicular fistula, rectourethral fistula and rectoprostatic fistula. Here types, first one is rectovaginal low fistula. Rectal atresia. There is a normal anus and anal pouch. The rectal pouch ends blindly in the hollow of the sacrum. The anus might form a fistula with other parts leading to anovestibular fistula, anoperineal fistula, anocutaneous fistula. Fifth classification is cloacal exstrophy. It's a rare severe defect in which there is externalization of the bladder and bowel through the abdominal wall. Often the genitalia are indefinite and the chromosome studies are necessary to determine the child's sex. These children are mostly females. Next, moving on to clinical manifestation. Absence of meconium. Normally, the child will be passing meconium within 24 hours, but here the passing of meconium is absent. The second is absence of anal opening. Next, third thing is unable to insert a gloved finger or a rectal thermometer into the rectum. Fourth is abdominal distension. Fifth, history of difficult defecation, abdominal distension and ribbon-like stools in an older child in case of anal stenosis. Greenish bulging membrane behind anus in case of imperforate anal membrane. Intestinal obstruction if no fistulas. Passage of meconium through vagina, perineal orifice or with urine in case of fistula. Next, moving on to diagnostic evaluation. Physical examination by passing the gloved little finger through the anus and by observing the passage through which meconium was passed. Second is USG. Next, X-ray with inverted infant, which is called as invertogram or Van Rice X-ray when the infant is 24 hours of age. Next, urine examination for presence of meconium and epithelial debris. Next, intravenous pyelogram to identify if there is any abnormalities in kidney. Next one is micturating cystourethrogram. Next, moving on to management, the reconstructive surgery is done to correct or repair the congenital malformation. It depends upon the type of anomaly and sex of the infant. In case of low anorectal malformation, where there is less than 1.5 cm distance between the anal dimple and the rectal pouch, rectal cutback anoplasty or YV plasty is done for male infants. Dilation of fistula with definitive repair or perineal anoplasty is performed for female infants. In this picture, you can see the anoplasty. Here, YV plasty. In case of imperforate anal membrane, the membrane is perforated with a blunt instrument. Repeated dilatation might be necessary to prevent scar formation. In case of anal stenosis, dilatation is done every 4 to 6 months. In case of fistula, the colon can be brought down through the anal dimple by a abdominal perineal procedure. The anus is positioned in the area of external sphincter and the fistula is removed. Next, preoperative care. Gastric suction may be done. Withhold oral feedings. Start parenteral hydration. Measurement of abdominal girth. Intake output chart should be maintained. Consent from parents. Pre-medications. Postoperative care. Scrupulous perineal care. Change perineal dressings whenever soiled. Apply protective ointments such as zinc oxide to decrease skin irritation. Position baby in a side lying or a supine position with the legs suspended at an 90-degree angle to the trunk to prevent pressure on perineal sutures. Intravenous feedings till the wound heals or until peristalsis appear. Prevention of constipation by exclusive breastfeeding and proper weaning with stool softeners or fibers. Train bowel habit. Daily enema until control or achieved if necessary. Do not use diapers in case of anoplasty. Colostomy care by changing the collection device and meticulous skin care. Family support, discharge planning and home care. Next, moving on to complication. UTI, intestinal obstruction, fecal impaction, colostomy related problems, recurrence of fistula, anal stenosis, poor bowel control, constipation. Last, prognosis. About 30% of children with high anorectal malformation or associated genitourinary fistula achieve bowel continence. About 90% of children with low ARM achieve bowel continence. Nursing care, preoperative, impaired bowel elimination related to bowel malformation as evidenced by lack of patency or passage of stool through a different opening. Goal, the child will pass meconium and will not have abdominal distension. And the interventions, if there is a fistula, keep the perineum clean until surgery. Follow preoperative orders. Do gastric decompressions with NG tube. Start IV line. Follow strict Nilper oral. Next is fluid volume deficit related to Nilper oral as evidenced by intake output chart. Goal, the child will maintain normal fluid balance. Intervention, maintain intake output chart, administer IV fluids as ordered, do gastric decompression. Next is risk for infection related to passage of meconium through urethra. Goal, the child will have no risk for infection. Intervention, if there is a fistula, keep the perineum clean until surgery. Follow preoperative orders. Start IV line. Administer plenty of IV fluids as ordered. Send urine for examination. Postoperative, pain related to surgical procedure as evidenced by pain score. Goal, the child will have less pain. Intervention, keep the suture site clean. Do not spread the legs or place in prone position to avoid strain on the sutures. Keep the legs suspended at 90-degree angle to the trunk. Prevent constipation by restarting breastfeeding when peristalsis appears. Second is impaired skin integrity related to surgical procedure as evidenced by redness of skin. Goal, the wound heals faster. Intervention, do not spread the legs or place in prone position to avoid strain on the sutures. Keep the legs suspended at 90-degree angle to the trunk. Prevent constipation by restarting breastfeeding when peristalsis appears. Apply zinc oxide ointment to prevent skin irritation. Change dressing often. Do not use diapers. A heat lamp may be used to facilitate healing. Next is risk for infection related to surgical incision in the least clean area. Goal: the child will have no risk for infection. Interventions are keep the sutured site clean, change dressing often, do not use diapers, change colostomy bag soon as it is soiled, administer antibiotics if prescribed, keep the site dry.